And then one day it all changed. I got a phone call from Pinnacle, and they asked me if I would want to go work there and be a sports trader for their company. I thought it was a joke. I kind of hung up the phone. Um, they're like, "You want to come to Curacao?" I'm like, "Where is that?" But anyways, yeah, during 2007, I think is when Pinnacle stopped giving American customers. And the story is basically there used to be a Magic player, used to be Pinnacle for millions of dollars, and Pinnacle hired him and said, "Listen, since you can't bet with us anymore, how about we still give you what you're winning every year, and you just help us understand why you're beating us." He went over there, and the very first thing he says, "The reason why I beat all you guys is because the people buying the computer are not that smart." And the guy looked at them, the owner of Pinnacle, and he said, "Where do we find people as smart as you?" And he crackled and he says, "No one is as smart as me. But there's this game called Magic the Gathering. The people who are good at it, they're critical thinkers, and they understand game theory. You should look into that." So the Pinnacle owners, what they did is they grabbed the Magic the Gathering like world rankings, and they literally started calling the top guys one after the other. I was like at the time the seventh or eighth person that got that phone call, and they hired about 40 of us,
Wow.
and we all went to this island, and it was awesome, because we were all young. Um, None of us really understood the job. I didn't even know what a sports bet was, really. I didn't know what an over and under was. I didn't know anything. I remember the very first day they put me in front of the computer and they said, "You got to trade this soccer game live." And I kept putting half a goal favorites instead of quarter goal favorites because I didn't understand that there was a difference. Uh, and yeah, it was nice because we had this camaraderie. Like we all try to get each other to be better. We always would ask each other for help, and we kind of all grew together to what Pinnacle is today.
That's honestly an amazing story because thinking about the evolution in the betting space and where we're at in 2023 now, I think the obvious solution for any sports book, for the vast majority of sports books who are just getting beat by a player, is going to be like, yeah, we don't want the action anymore, and we're just not going to keep going down the line and just cut people off. And this is like an innovative way to continue forward as a sports book, but do it in a manner that's like untraditional. It's very high risk, right, for a sports book to go out of their way and be like, yeah, forget about the existing guys who've traded sports forever. We're going to bring in like these critical thinkers, game theory guys, and reinvent the wheel. And like, it's only 16 years ago, but it almost feels like it's 100 years ago when you tell that story.
Yeah, it was amazing because they had trust in us, and we repaid them with a lot of hard work. But it was amazing because they were one of those companies that the only thing they knew was American sports at the time. So once they get lose all their Americans, they had to do something to make it. So we started offering tons of soccer. And we started offering a bunch of tennis, eventually esports, which blew up. Esports basically comes from Magic players. We would sit around watching, League of Legends on YouTube while working, and we're like, let's offer some lines, and then all these people will start betting, and we were like, whoa, people like to bet this, and sometimes you have to take a leap of faith, and they did it, and Pinnacle is a great company. They didn't fire any of the guys that were already there. They gave them other jobs, or we will work with them, elbow by elbow kind of thing. But after a few years, all the Magic players were all the managers of all the different sports. At the end, Magic player was actually head of the sports book, Marco Blume. I don't know if you guys ever
Oh
heard
yeah,
of him.
very familiar with
Uh,
Marco. Yeah.
yeah. So they kind of, and then they also went into different roles. We started an R&D team. They started a math team. Some of them started programming. So they kind of infiltrated themselves all throughout the company.
When you got that call from Pinnacle, were you did you already have a family, like wife and kids or anything? Or
No, and
okay,
I just had bought a house in San Diego, and I was like, should I do this? And so they flew me to Curacao for a couple of days, and I realized it was a real island and a real job, and And then I was like, you know what? If I'm not going to do something like this when I'm young, when am I ever going to do it? So I just took a leap of faith and went with it. Where I also, there was other stuff, with Upper Deck, it was a good company, but it wasn't all that great. And then I'm like, man, video games are going to take over card games, which they did. So I don't see too much of a green pastures here at Upper Deck. So that's why I did it.